having kids. I just want to let you guys know that I am going to be sharing some photos, so if you're the squeamish type, I'm going to have you look away, because the reality of what happens behind these locked doors and under liability-free hospitals is nothing short of a mass genocide.
Hold this like this.
A little bit about myself. I'm a mother of 3 boys. I am an Army combat veteran, so thank you everybody out there who also appreciate you so much. I am a registered nurse. I live in Florida. We love our governor down there. But a lot of people don't know, Florida isn't as free as everyone thinks. Our hospitals still have no liability. And that is the #1 thing that we need to change throughout the country, not just in Florida, but everywhere. Because as long as we have anyone to answer to, they're going to keep doing whatever they want, and they are. So the COVID-19 pandemic has been one of the greatest threats to America, our values, and our Constitution that many of us have never faced in our lifetime. And it's not because this virus is so deadly. It's because of the corrupt politicians and bureaucrats that have lied to you. And they've been
everybody's way.
Very, very deeply. I stand before you today to share my experiences working as a travel nurse in New York at Elmhurst Hospital, the epicenter of the epicenter. And I stand before you today to tell you about the patients that I was unable to advocate for, despite that being the #1 promise that I made to my patients as a registered nurse. I stand before you today to talk about the mothers, the fathers, the sisters, and the brothers that many of you have probably lost. The human beings that didn't need to die alone in cold, dark rooms where very few of my colleagues even wanted to enter. Separated from their loved ones that were banned from entering these stuffed chambers. I held their hands, I combed their hair, I talked to them, I shared stories about my kids with them, in order to just to connect and understand them, despite them being on ventilators and not even knowing where they were. Because their families weren't allowed to do that, so I had to stand in the place to do that for them. The patients were so neglected for so long that it became kind of the norm, and everybody thought it was okay. So I'm going to share with you a few images now, and as I stated before, if you're the squeamish type, I would like you to look away. But these are the actual patients that I took care of while working at Elmhurst Hospital in New York. So the first slide. This lasted so long that the apparatus that holds the breathing you're through his top. His lip is sitting on his front teeth right now and is propped up. If you look even closer, you can see the little sticky pads on the side of his cheeks are eroding into them. This is what was behind closed doors. This is not normal treatment. The next photo. This patient was neglected so long that this patient actually came in with a heart issue, not COVID, but became a adolescent, a very weak heart. A resident physician that was, despite being advised not to, despite being advised not to, the physician ordered the medication anyway, and the skin started scaling off of this patient, immediately died thereafter. These are the kind of things that are not being told to family members. And these are the kind of things that are happening behind closed doors under a liability-free hospital system. And then away with it right now. These are the kind of things that happen to many of your family members and friends that you'll never find out because they won't tell you. You're in Berkeley. Yep. Let's go. The next photo is what we were given. They just assumed everybody would die. So this is what we were told to do. It was just kind of the norm. Eventually we ran out of body bags and they started just using black garbage trash bags. Some of the staff would go through it and take it home. It's pretty disgusting. So it was essentially an assembly line to a body bag. We had $13,000 to admit patients, $39,000 to put them on a ventilator. At some point, we had $10,000 per death. They banned all treatments that worked. At that time, it was the hydroxychloroquine and zinc that was working. It was banned. We couldn't do anything else except for ventilators. Any of us that said anything, we were immediately fired. So that's when I decided that I needed to go undercover. Got a pair of eyeglasses sent to me. It needs to stop, and I'm very excited. I wish more of us in my profession were standing up. I really do, and I think that it's more or less just for one life is too much. So they can take saying something is actually breaking the law. We're listening. So COVID is treatable. Ivermectin works. I've seen it work many times. I had patients that they gave them 2 hours to live. They're putting them on hospice care, giving up on them. Ivermectin doesn't work. Supposedly, give them ivermectin, they're back to their life. And that itself is very unethical in treatment. All patients should have a right to choose at any time. So we must reject fear and embrace courage. We must topple the pursuit of safety from the altar of moral virtue and install in its place reverence for freedom. For unless this happens, we Americans standing still, cowering, stand to lose absolutely everything. COVID-19 and this pandemic opened the door for them to do whatever they wanted. The election being stolen was one of them. If more people would have stood up in the beginning, maybe we wouldn't even be here right now. But it's not too late. It's never too late to stand up.
Amen.
So we've only just begun. There's a lot more people here now. 2 years ago, it wasn't like this also. I am very, very grateful to see more and more people waking up and standing up and being brave. So we are the patriots of this nation, and the patriots will win this war. God bless this nation. God bless every one of you out there standing on the right side of history. Be brave, be bold, and fight for our future generations. We are it. Thank you.
Appreciative that we have a place to host this event. How many? Oh, yeah. Well, let me introduce to you two people that help make this possible behind the scenes here. One is my incredible wife. I think she's back there somewhere. It's my wife, Vanessa. We've been married 21 years. There she is. We have 5 kids, and she allows me to take my from 3 a.m. to 6 p.m. schedule at Reawaken America. Vanessa, why are you excited about Reawaken America?
I just want to say thank you guys for coming out and for taking action. You know, my husband is a very action-oriented person, and he has very thick skin. I'm not wired the same way, so I've had to get comfortable with being attacked, comfortable with was being lied about. And so I know what we're asking of you to do is go out there and take action. It's not always easy, it's not always comfortable, but I promise that God is so faithful. And when you step out and do whatever it is He has for you to do, He will protect you and your family. Amen. He will guide you and your family. And I look at the grace and the blessing that He's given me and my husband. So we're closer to each other than we've ever been. He's closer to the Lord.
Yeah, amen.
19 years of consecutive praying. We finally had a breakthrough.
He's closer to the Lord these past 2 years.
There you go, him.
Closer than I've ever seen him be. Seeking, reading the Bible daily, and like it's come alive to him, right? It's almost comical to us. We've got some kids back there. I might want to bring them up, but you ask him, what does Dad do with you guys at night? And he's watching the Bible AD. We're watching whatever Bible shows, and I'm so grateful for everything that God has done.
Yeah, still looking for Primus. Let me see if he messaged me. See if he messaged me back. Oh, just check real quick here. We'll get it out of the way. Okay, he's up next. All right, never mind. Well, let's just wait here for a minute. We'll go back, and I want to film him. Let me message him back. Jason's about to go up. Jason Murmus. If somebody tips me, maybe. I don't have any money, dude. Sorry. We got here, didn't we?
Yes.
We brought snacks, right?
Yes.
I know. It's pay week. So see, that's the only thing I knew coming here. He's gonna want everything. I get paid next week. Ooh. Oh, it's here. All right, we're gonna watch Jason. Come on. It's my friend going up. Not yet. Not yet.
And I think I've broken every rule possible. But he's been super flexible. We got about 4,700 people behind the stage here, speakers and their families and everything. Also, he's accommodated a room for everybody here. And when churches were canceling and saying we couldn't go to a church, the Opry stood in the gap and said, you guys can share the truth. So let's have some money. I want to help support this place. It's a privately owned venue, okay? So they're competing against a lot of other venues where the math doesn't work. It's privately owned. That's how they can do that. How often do you have shows and programs here, sir?
6 nights.
How good is that,
Right to that box office and buy them. We'll be running tomorrow. We have a concert and Monday through Saturday. We run our own shows. Calvin Gilmore owns and produces all our shows and has for 37 years.
Folks, let's hear one more time for David All and the entire Opry staff.
Hold on.
Thank you.
Sorry. Battery.
Now, how many of you are ready for the most intense presentation of the weekend? Are you ready? Our next presenter is going to give you so much truth in 15 minutes. I promise your head will explode.
Here he comes.
You may want to get out your phone. You want to get like a writing device, maybe a ketchup packet. Maybe you like to write with a ketchup packet. That's a weird thing to do, man. Okay, maybe you want to get an Etch-a-Sketch or whatever you need to do, because he's going to share with you the truth about the transhumanism agenda. All of it. It's amazing. He's a filmmaker, he's an independent journalist, and he's my good friend, and now yours. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand to your feet and greet Jason Berman!
we're going to be talking about the correlation between NASA, transhumanism, and yes, Elon Musk. I can assure you, he is not your friend. Not even close, okay? Now, a lot of people think NASA, well, we're going to the moon, and we're going to Mars, and space exploration. Well, I'm here to present to you that that's only 20% of what they do. And what they actually do is what you see behind me. Future Strategic Warfare. This is a July 2001 document that is stunningly accurate over the last 20 plus years. And remember, we are 18 and a half months from 2025. So I want you to take a look at this right now. And you see that this is a DARPA document, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, CIA, FBI, Office of Naval Intelligence, Australian DoD, and they're welcoming the bots, boards, and humans to 2025 AD. And you'll notice in the corner there, it says, these are all based on data, trends, analysis, and existing technologies. Okay, this is a 20-plus-year-old document, folks. No pixie dust. In other words, what we're going to present here is all reality. Okay? So, if you take a look over here, you'll see that the global warming agenda and the climate change agenda is also a NASA agenda. And that agenda is a population control agenda. You'll also see they're going to genomically design and repair human species and even mind children. Yes, that is brain chips, transhumanism, which they go over extensively in this document. We're only going to present a few of these slides, but it's 100+ pages. And you will notice that they accurately predicted that the bio-nano era would begin in 2020. Why do I say it began in 2020? What do you think the shots were? Whether you took the mRNA or the vector shot, they were all biological nanotechnology, and they just injected billions of people with it. Now, if you look there, they don't know when it ends. But the virtual age is next, and I'm going to present to you that virtual age is actually us uploading our consciousness and the end of humanity. It's unfortunate, I know. So, you take a look here, they talk about smart dust, utilized in the Gulf War, the second Gulf War, and the war on terror, nanotags everywhere, co-opted insects. Yes, that's genomically engineered insects, not only for surveillance, but also biological warfare. Really fun stuff. If you look over to the second one, they talk about stabilization of the world population. Okay, and this document's by a guy named Dennis Bushnell. He is still the chief scientist over at NASA. He's been around since the Gemini days, pre-Apollo, and after this next slide, you're going to get to meet him and hear what he actually has to say about all this. So the last thing I want to bring up is one of these slides right here. Remember, this is pre-9/11, and they're talking about exploiting CNN syndrome. What is CNN syndrome? Well, they coined that term after the first Gulf War because they realized they could manipulate the populace through propaganda and the news. Shocking, I know, because CNN is so great, right? If you look over again next to that, you'll see what's inexpensive. You know, the blast wave accelerators, the ICBMs are there, but what else? Information, internet, and psychological warfare, including binary biologics into the food supply. All right, and then what I will argue, we'll talk about today, Trojan horse civilian systems. What does that mean? What is a Trojan horse civilian system? Well, they always tell you Facebook's a private company, Google's a private company, Twitter's a private company. They are not. They are Trojan horse civilian systems to get all of your data, all of your information, and then censor you with impunity. I promise you that. So, here we have Dennis. Dennis is at a presentation all the way back in 2011, and we're going to let him speak right now about the lower standards of living, population control, really, depopulation, and how it's Malthus 101. If you know anything about Malthusianism, it is what is a life worth. So let's play this clip.
The code word is sustainability. The crashing of the ecosystem is due to population growth and the way we're now living, our standard of living. The estimates vary between 30 and 50% of the planet that we're currently short to sustain the standard of living and the current population, much less the population growth. As the Asians and their billions come up as they are at 9 to 11% growth rate, the Western standards of living, we're going to be short 3 more planets, and they're not readily available. This will result in peak everything. This will result in standards of living plunging. So this is Malthus 101. These innate ecosystem restrictions and shortfalls will necessarily shift world econometrics from a growth mantra to one of sustainability, with possible population control instigated along the way that changes everything.
And so you see, population control that changes everything, and your standard of living is going to plummet. And you look at what has happened in the last 10 years, they don't intend on us having a comeback, folks. So the next clip we're going to play is Dennis expounding on this and letting us know that over a decade ago, they'd actually already put 10,000 brain chips in human beings. We'll get to what the number is now. We're not talking just cochlear implants or retinal implants. We are talking DARPA super soldier type implants, mind implants, and beyond.
Plus the ongoing biorevolutions, genomics and synthetic biology that proffers the very real possibility of designing life forms, including humanoids, capable of thriving in whoever best we make them play. In terms of employment, just as an example, we are in a jobless economic recovery. There's about 7 million jobs. Some of them were globalized and offshore. The rest of them are the productivity program, which is a code word for ever better automation and robotization. The machines are taking the jobs, and the humans increasingly can't compete. We're also becoming cyborgs, okay? We have cochlear implants, artificial retinas, artificial hearts, direct brain prosthetic blood communications, brain chips. We put brain chips into about 10,000 people. It affects congenitally defective brains. Doctors working on brain chips for super soldiers. 15, 20 years out, if you don't have the latest chip in, you can't compete, particularly with the machines. So we are merging with the machines.
So he's going to tell you that not only are we merging with the machines, if we can actually get to the clip, because I'm down to the wire here, that we will upload our consciousness. Okay, that is the plan. And in this next clip, he's going to tell you that regular evolution is over, and human beings are in control of this on the way to the virtual age.
Humans are now becoming cyborgs. We have cochlear implants to hear, artificial retinas to see, artificial hearts to live, artificial limbs to move, artificial organs to function, and brain chips. There's a couple 100,000 people wandering around with brain chips now. It affects congenitally defective brains, and increasingly it affects memory and other things. DARPA's working on brain chips for super soldiers. And people are now working, thanks to Musk and other people, funding direct machine-brain communications. It's not us versus them, us versus the machines. We're merging. And this is the human evolution of the humans. There is no more natural evolution of anything. People are convinced that the human evolution of everything is 10 million times faster than any natural evolution. And so this is just part of the human evolution.
Okay, so there it is. There's the human evolution. Did you notice that? 200,000 people with brain chips in 2018. That's 4 years ago, folks. So he also mentions Musk. Musk is the front man for this Neuralink agenda. These technologies are around 4 or 5 decades before they use these Trojan horse civilian systems to introduce them into the public. So here he is. He's going to tell you finally, at the end of the day, we're uploading our consciousness.
There will be essentially no jobs the machines cannot do. We currently have creative software that are doing ideation just as good or better than humans now. The creative jobs will be the last ones to go, but I have not been able to discern any jobs the machines cannot do as machine intelligence and all the rest of the autonomous robotics develops. So now we're to your question, okay, what do you do with these people? We humans are now converting ourselves into cyborgs. We now have artificial retinas, artificial hearts, we have brain chips. DARPA's working on brain chips for super soldiers. We can have a high bandwidth COM port built in, and so you don't have to use the sensors, and they're very limited bandwidth. And eventually, this all ends up with uploading into the machines, and instead of us versus them, humans versus the machines, we become them.
So, we talk about these kind of systems that are going to bring us into that. Google is one of them. Google actually works with NASA, has for well over a decade, and they achieved quantum supremacy all the way back in 2019. Now, Musk, what's he up to? Well, if you didn't know, back in the 80s, there was a program called Star Wars, where we weaponized space, the Strategic Initiative Program. The word on the street was it failed. I assure you, it did not. Okay? In fact, you can hear him here, hopefully we'll have enough time, talk about weaponized satellite systems that Elon Musk is launching via SpaceX. This is the Blackjack program. He just launched one last week. He launched them over Easter weekend, and his Starlink satellites are actually being used in the Ukraine for warfare. So let's hear Bushnell talk about these type of satellites.
The second one is the Russians apparently have satellites up there that they're moving in strange ways. And they may not be normal satellites, they may be doing something different. So what's that all about?
No comment.
Oh, come on now. Killer satellites? Are they? No. Okay. All right. Sorry, Ty.
What he didn't tell you is I'm the NASA rep to the National Intelligence Council.
See that?
And
It's all
so
about
I
national
gotta be
intelligence.
pretty careful.
So it's about the Defense Department, it's about national intelligence, it's about weaponization of space. So take a look at this right here. You can talk about the Skynet DARPA program, which is Blackjack, and that SpaceX, again, right over Easter, is continually launching these devices. In fact, that's where he makes his money. He launches military cargo anywhere in the world in 1 hour. The man is a front man for DARPA and military industrial complex technology. Make no mistake about it. Okay? Here he is challenging Putin to single combat and actually getting in fights with members of parliament over the Ukraine war right now. I know it's not all over the news, but it should be, because we have the head of the Russian space agency boasting via their space weapons they can nuke all of Europe in less than 30 minutes. Sounds like a dangerous guy to me. I don't know. Okay? And there you are. You see that Starlink changed the war, according to the Ukrainians. And they have actually, the Russians have actually announced a space war against Elon Musk. The music is playing, folks. If you want to see more of this information, please check me out at rockfin.com, ROKFIN.com/Jason Burmis. I go into a ton of this stuff. I'm also a documentary filmmaker, Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Divine, and Shake the Motion Picture are free. Check them out and share them. I love you all, and thank you.
Whoa, that's Jason Burmis, B-E-R-M-A-S. That's Rockfin, ROKFIN.com/Jason Burmis. To get some of you are going, who books these people? I do. And my whole thing is I look at people sharing the truth. I don't care whether they're a big name or not. I bring them here and I say, the only thing I say is you have to cite your sources. Nothing but facts. Nothing but facts.
Smoking a cigarette. Ooh. Pictures too. Pictures of my lens. We'll go out the side door over here. Oh, I'm almost down this. I think still at the side door like we did yesterday. Squeeze me.
I'll kill you.
Squeeze me.
I'll have to go through a look.
Even my blooper. boom. We'll have to either walk around and be let back in. So what you think, Judd? It's like you're picking your nose over there in front of everybody a bunch of times. Picking your boogers. Pretty clouds. Picking your boogers in front of everybody. What are you doing? Yep, just me and my helper today. He's got all the boogers if you guys need some. If anybody needs boogers, you know, that's pretty gross. Plasma arches. We could set up a booger booth. We'd be rich, dude. What do you think? Did he do all right? The other girl before him, I read her book. She was a nurse in, shit, I forget what it was called. It was in New York, though. I did read that.
I'm not interrupting him.
No.
Well, they've been after me, but that's good.
Yeah, it's just hard to get back in after. That's the only problem. Yeah, I'll probably go 2 for now, and if anything interesting happens, I'll come again. But I'll take pictures and film a little bit. I got to entertain this kid, because look at him. Yep. And he just wants stuff. Don't we all? All right. I want to say that too for Jason. Love you guys.